Hey, what's up YouTube? Donovan the Smartphone Guy coming back at you with another video, and tonight we're going to take a look at a watch, or revisit a watch that I have been using for quite a long time now. This is the Ticwatch 2, and I've had this for over 6 months, and with that being said, I've reviewed a lot of watches in between then and now since December, and I gotta say that this is the watch I keep coming back to. So in this video, I want to talk about whether this thing is still worthy of your purchase now that it's May 2017. This came out, I think, back in like October of 2016. And the quick answer to that is definitely a yes. Huge thumbs up. I've really enjoyed this watch so far, and I want to talk about why. So, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of perspective, so the Moto 360 Sport was the watch that I kind of started out with reviewing for the YouTube channel. Now, I had plenty of watches before that, but that was the first one I reviewed. And then I switched over to the Samsung Gear Fit 2, also a very worthy watch. And you'll probably notice the trend that both those are runner-based watches, or at least fitness-based watches. Another great watch. This is actually one I still use quite often when I'm in more formal settings, but this is the Limfo Y3. This is an Android 5.1 watch. And then this is one that I actually just got about a week ago. So I'm still kind of in the process of reviewing this, but this is the Z-Blaze Thor. So this is also an Android 5.1 watch as well. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and talk about the TickWatch 2 and what all this thing has to offer. So first of all, it's a little cheaper than when I got it. It was $200 at the time of launch. It's now $170 for the version I have. This is the charcoal version, as you can see. There is also the Oak Smart version, which I would say is pretty comparable to like the Limfo Y3 in terms of the look. The difference being that on the Limfo Y3, we do not have removable bands, whereas with the TickWatch 2, you do. And then we also have the Onyx version, which is the more premium version, and that one's running $255 at the moment. It started out at $300, so the prices have gone down a little bit. But check back because the prices do change on occasion. So like I said, at the moment it's $170, and it's absolutely worth it in my opinion. This is still, after 6 months, my favorite watch. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about why. So first thing I want to talk about is the build quality. So as you can see, it's got a ceramic backing. It's got a metallic casing here. The watch, in comparison to some other watches like the Limfo Y3, you can see it has roughly around the same size screen, but definitely not as thick. And I would say this one's more gender neutral, whereas like the Y3 is definitely, I would say, more of a manly watch because of just the sheer size of it. And then, here's the Z-Blaze Thor. So pretty close to the same size, but the Z-Blaze Thor is definitely a little bit thicker as well. So TickWatch 2, I would say, is a little bit more gender neutral compared to those other two. So really nice build. One of my favorite things about the build itself is the fact that the bands are completely removable, whereas, with like these two here, bands are not removable because they have sensors built into the bands. This one does not, and so you can go ahead and remove those bands and replace it with pretty much any band you want. So in terms of some of the features that it has, so of course it has a heart rate sensor, which over time has gotten better and better as they have updated their software. So it has a proximity sensor, which you'll use for just covering up the screen to turn it off. That's a nice feature. It does have a pedometer, of course, and it says a linear motor. Not really sure what that's used for. It has water resistance, so it's IP65, so you're probably safe in the shower, and I've worn it in the shower before, and it was safe, no problem, but you definitely do not want to go like in a pool with it or anything like that. And then it does also have Tickle Touch as well. I will honestly say that's a pretty gimmicky feature. It's not a feature that I've really used, but you use this side here and you can scroll through some of the features that it offers. But again, it's never a feature that I've had any use for, and I've had this for 6 months. I've never really found a reason to use that. So the next thing I want to talk about after build is the performance. So this is a watch that absolutely has no hiccups. Going from app to app, going from the music player to Bluetooth or whatever you might be using it for, it doesn't really stutter at all. And this is a pretty feature-packed watch. Now, I will say this is only a Bluetooth tethering watch. It is not a watch that has a built-in SIM, whereas over here with the Limfo Y3, you can see there is a SIM there. Same thing with the Z-Blaze Thor, also a SIM. Of course, Samsung Gear Fit 2, that's a tethering watch, and same with the Moto 360 Sport. But this is just simply a tethering watch. So by tethering it to your device, like I have it tethered to my LG G6, you can get notifications from the phone to the watch. So that's actually an assistant here. So now it's going to read everything that I'm saying. And look at how, see? So it's actually pretty accurate. Now, with that being said, sometimes it's not always the most useful. So let's go ahead and try something. So like, I think tonight the Cavs are playing. So what's the score of the Cavs game right now? Okay, well, it gives us, at least it gives us something. It's maybe not the actual score. Okay, so it's going to take us to a website. Okay, so some moderately useful information, but certainly not as good as what Google would give us. But, it's better than nothing, I suppose. Let's try this. What's the current weather? Okay, so I'm not really sure why that's unavailable. I think it's connected at the moment. Let's check my phone just to double check. It's been a little while. Let's see. Okay, so it is connected, so let's try it one more time. No, it's saying unavailable, so I'm not really sure. What's the current weather? Okay, well, that's actually accurate. So I'm not really sure what was going on there. I'm not sure if you guys could hear that, but it does have a speaker built in, which I did fail to mention. So there's a speaker up at the top, and there's a microphone over here, which actually works quite well for phone calls. But as you can see, the assistant doesn't work all that well. That is definitely one bug I think they still need to work on in terms of the software. But overall, the software is quite good. So this is running Android 5.1. So if I jump in here to the settings and go into About, and with that being said, this thing is getting updates quite regularly. So you can see here it's running Android 5.1. It is currently on TickWatch 4.8, and they've actually had updates since then. But I tend to wait on the updates because they push them out so quickly. I kind of wait a little bit just to see what the bugs are before I download them. But yeah, overall, fantastic software. That's one huge plus to this watch is the software. So if I go in here to like Gmail, I'll just skip over Gmail. Let's go to Google Plus, for instance. You can see that I got a feedback from a subscriber just saying that, actually he was telling me that somebody had stolen my video. And so I can go in here, I can open on my phone. So, whoops, I think I actually hit the wrong thing. But we can go in here to smartphone conversations, and you can see I can interact with what's been said here. So really nice. The way they feature that I just really like the notification system that they have built in here. So let's see what Jay Will had to say. He says grind time. Okay, so he's at the gym. So, and that's another thing. I can actually go in and I can reply, retweet, like it, open it on my phone, clear it. So just very useful notifications. I would say of all the watches, even compared to Android Wear 2.0, I think this one has even better notification system. That's just my opinion. I haven't had the Samsung watches, so I can't compare it there. Other than the Gear Fit 2, which, obviously that's a little bit more limited in terms of what that can give for notifications. But still, overall, I really like the software on this watch. So let's just kind of go through what all it has to offer here. So it has a dialer. The dialer is simply going to use your phone. So it's going to connect to your phone to make that. But you can actually make the phone calls on the watch, but the watch has to be connected to your phone to do that. So then it has calendar, of course. So that's actually going to use whatever calendar you have set up. So there's just some phone calls I had to do at work today. Go back in here. So we have health and we have fitness. So the health is just showing you, this is kind of a useless piece here, but then you come down here and it actually shows you what you've done so far today. So steps, your distance, calories burned, things like that. So very useful there. And then we go into fitness. This is where you're actually going to track any workouts that you do. This does have GPS built into it, so that's really nice. So you can use it for an outdoor run to track your distance, and that has gotten better and better, along with the heart rate. Both of those things have gotten much, much better over time. So at first when I got it, the GPS would occasionally like drop, whereas now it's very accurate. So that's definitely improved a ton over time. So weather, we've already seen that. You can go ahead and check out some watch faces. We have a stopwatch built in, music player. So music player, you can easily transfer music from your phone over to the watch, which I could show you, but and we can play it directly on the watch, or we can play it through some Bluetooth headphones. So if I go in here, we're going to play this for just a second. Okay, so you can hear that has that built-in speaker. Good song, by the way. Okay, and so we do have that option. But of course, I'm using Bluetooth headphones. It's not a very loud speaker, but it's available there. You can record. So if you want to record your voice, we have a timer. We have an alarm, which the alarm actually works directly through the watch itself. That's another thing you can use that. We can do the assistant. We can make it set an alarm for us. Calculator, we got settings. So I'm not going to go into all the settings. I did a full review of the settings in a previous video. The Mob Voice Store is mostly at this point just watch faces, but there are some other things that are slowly being added. And then these are apps that you can gain through your phone. So there are a few that will work. Actually, Spotify, I'm pretty sure won't work. Let's just try it. Yeah, so it's going to say connection failed. So that is, it's hit or miss whether apps will actually work. So these are Android Wear apps, and it's pretty hit or miss whether those work, but that's kind of a feature they tried to add. Some will work, some won't, so there's some games that will work. Basically, in order for them to work, they have to be things that you don't need the phone connected for. So just kind of I did a full video on what apps will work and won't work in terms of Android Wear, but overall, the majority of them don't work, let's just say that. The other thing I want to mention here real quick is we're going to go into the actual phone and find the actual app here. So this is TickWatch, very nice app. I think it's very well built. So I can go in here and tell what notifications I want on, turn them on or off. I can, of course, change the watch faces. You can see a ton of watch faces available. And again, there's a lot more than what I'm showing you here, because if you go into that Mob Voice Store, there's a ton there. Quick cards, I can just adjust what shows when I swipe up from the top. So if I swipe up from the top and go over, so it starts out with music, weather, there's my health app, and then back to the main settings. So really nice feature there. We got the App Store, so that's just going to go into, again, the Mob Voice Store, so we're not going to go into that. Health, this is one that is a huge, very nice feature, and this has improved a ton over time. So this watch, why I got it as a, as a runner, it's just improved over and over time. So let's see here, I can go into like a workout here. So you can see here that I ran with a friend. We ran about 8 miles, took us about an hour. But it'll give us all kinds of detailed information. So went for a little potty break, but you can see my heart rate. So it tracks the heart rate over time, and it's gotten better and better in terms of accuracy. You can see distance was tracked really well and time was tracked really well. Step frequency, step length, distance and route. So that was dead on in terms of my route. We literally went down a old railroad track, a rail trail, and back. And so, yeah, that part has improved dramatically over time. So the health version of this, I already liked it, but it's gotten better and better. The weather is just, again, we're just adjusting the weather. The music is how you're going to transfer music. So you can see here that I can go in here and find what music is available on my phone. And if I just click one of these little things, it will transfer it from my phone over to the watch. So that's how you do that. Then it'll show you what you have available on your watch as well. So fitness is just going to adjust some of the fitness options that you have there. So you can see just where these are the options that you have to transfer the data to. And then taxi, I've never used that. I don't live in an area that would even be useful. And then help. So the last thing I want to talk about is the battery life on this. So this I've been using all day. Actually, this is 24 hours basically. I took it off the charger last night at around midnight, and you can see that I'm at 40%. So just to kind of give you a little bit of perspective, I'll come up here and show you that I keep it on Do Not Disturb because I don't want the vibration going off all day while I'm at work. And then the other thing is I keep it on silent mode. So no vibration and no chirping at all. So The notifications come in, I can feel it vibrate on my phone, and then if I want to look at it, I'll look at it on my watch. Otherwise, I just prefer not to get disturbed during the day, especially when I'm at work. You can see here that it also shows you your phone battery at the moment. So that's just how I use it. Obviously, if you turn it, well, I keep Bluetooth on all the time, but if you kept the GPS on all the time, that could obviously affect the battery life that you get out of it. There's multiple things that can affect it, but overall, I would say it's easily a full day. There's no doubt you're going to get a full day out of it unless you're being really crazy with it. Possibly 2 full days. So you can see after 24 hours, I'm at 40%. So I'm not conserving the battery a ton, but I'm also not using it to its fullest extent. There's a lot of things that you could get if you wanted every single notification to pop up every single time with vibration and sound. That's obviously going to wear down the battery a little bit faster, but yeah, so overall battery life is quite good, easily a day, and that for me, that's the important thing. And I will mention also that it does use a QI wireless receiver here, so that is how it's going to charge. So technically, you can use like a wireless charger from like a Samsung phone. If I can actually get the little disc, it doesn't look like I'm actually going to get it, so I've been using actually the Moto 360 Sport one, so that's what I've been using to charge mine. That also works, so as long as it's a QI wireless receiver, it will work. You just want to use a 1 amp adapter with it. So with that being said, an awesome watch, definitely worth picking up. I would definitely consider it if you are interested, especially if you're a runner that wants to run wirelessly with your music and also want great notifications on a really nice smartwatch, then definitely check it out. This is the TickWatch 2, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.